You know, we're all used to swiping our credit and debit cards at the register to pay for our purchases, but in just a few days, that process is going to change. New chip card technology will go into effect on October 1st, and that will change the way we shop. Joining us live from San Francisco this morning to tell us what we can expect is Stephanie Ericksen with Visa. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Chris.
Now, there are going to be some changes, as I just said, happening with our credit and debit cards this week. Can you explain exactly what's happening?
Yeah, many consumers have probably noticed that they've been getting some cards reissued to them in their mailbox over the last couple months. We see about 60% of people already have a chip card in their wallet, at least one. And what's happening on October 1st is we're going to see more and more of the stores that we shop at all of the time starting to upgrade their terminals so that they can actually read those chips.
And how will the new cards change our experience at the register when we check out?
Yeah, the purchase experience is going to be a little bit different. As we move forward, instead of swiping the mag stripe on the back of your card, when the terminals become upgraded to be able to read the chip, you'll be inserting the chip end of your card into the terminal and then leaving that card in the terminal for a few seconds until a unique one-time code can be generated. Then that's what's going to be bringing more security to the payment transaction.
Yeah, you kind of answered that right now, but I was going to ask, how does this chip technology enhance or make that security payment even more secure?
Yeah, what's happening with that one-time code is when the chip card is in the terminal, as soon as the transaction amount is finalized, the chip card is actually acting like a mini computer. And so it's using that transaction amount and some other data to generate a unique one-time code. It's a mathematical calculation that's being done by that card. And then that data is sent into the system and it's changing with each transaction. And that's how we can tell that it's not a counterfeit transaction, and it's really effective at addressing counterfeit fraud, which is roughly 2/3 of the fraud that we see in stores today. And also that data becomes a lot less attractive for criminals to try to steal because they can't use it to do counterfeit fraud or create counterfeit cards. So it also makes merchant data a lot less attractive for criminals to try to go after.
Now, what happens if we attempt to make a payment with our chip card at a terminal that hasn't been converted yet, and our payment's still secure?
Yes, consumers are always protected with zero fraud liability protection, but they can continue to use the mag stripe on the back of their card because we know it does take several years for all of the cards to be converted and for all of the merchant terminals to be upgraded to read the chip. So in the meantime, consumers are always protected from any fraud on their card, and they have zero liability for that fraud. And they can continue to use the mag stripe. But as more and more merchant locations become enabled to be able to read the chip, they'll be doing more chip transactions going forward.
Now, where can our viewers go to get more information on all these changes?
Yeah, there's a lot of great information at a website called visachip.com. There's information for consumers as well as for small business merchants. There's some great training materials as well as some videos there that shows how to do a chip transaction and what that security is.
All right, some great information. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us this morning to help us get through these changes with these new cards.
Great. Thanks a lot, Chris.
The preceding portion of Daytime was sponsored by